Okay, welcome back. We just rebooted after doing a security update, so I'm going to log in. Only if I get the focus. And CIS4335. Okay, cool. So we've got all that part done, and we've logged in. So the next thing we're going to do is do what's called a snapshot of the machine. A snapshot, but there's two things. One's called a snapshot and one's called a screenshot. Don't get them confused. Right now, we have everything all set up. So in case we blow things up, I want to be able to get back to this point. Okay. So if I go to machine, it says take snapshot. This is not obviously not a Ubuntu thing. This is a VirtualBox thing. So I'm going to go to VirtualBox and I'm going to say take snapshot. And I'm probably going to call this one install complete. Something like that. That way if I blow the machine up to smithereens, I know I can at least get back to this. And I'm going to hit OK. And that's it. Okay, we've done that. Yay, we've created a thing. All right. The next thing we're going to do is a little funky. First of all, I'm going to do a shutdown just to show you how that works. And then we're going to do some other cool stuff. So right now, I'm just going to type shut down space now. Okay. Normally, this is a multi-user system, so you want to send a message out to people, tell them that it's getting ready to shut down. Shut down now means, no, I want to do it now. Okay, cool. So this brings us back to this guy. All right, let's just go through this kind of slow and easy because I want to kind of look at some of the cool features that exist. If you were to take this machine and move it to another machine, you know, take the virtual machine like you had this in a portable hard drive and you wanted to put it someplace else, you'd walk up and this entry would not be there. But I don't want to create a new one. You would hit the add button. And then you'd pick on the VBox guy, okay? The blue guy, because there's going to be a red guy in here, and but you want the blue guy. And so you click on that guy and presto changeo. So you only have to do that once per machine. But let's say if you had 3 machines, you had one at home, one at the office, one at the university. If you built it at home, you would have to do this at the office and at the classroom. But that's it, just once. Okay, so the add button instead of creating new. Okay, cool. When it put things together, it determined what's called a host key, because occasionally you want to talk to the machine in such a way. For example, I really can't do the Control-Alt-Delete thing, because the Control-Alt-Delete would be the Control-Alt-Delete for the host machine. So how the heck do I send a Control-Alt-Delete to a guest machine? All right, so I'm going to start this guy one more time. It's kind of amazing. It doesn't. These things boot up rather quickly. I kind of like that part. And so while it's coming up, because I don't really have to wait for that, there's a thing called input. And then down here, it talks about keyboard. So I can send, for example, Control-Alt-Delete. And you do that with the host and then the delete. So what the heck do they mean by host? Down here, it shows you what the host key is. It's the right control. Now, that's by default. Now, I've got a Microsoft Surface tablet that does not have a control key on the right. I got a control key on the left, but I don't have one on the right. So if you have one of those, man, you're going to have to go in there and tweak that. But anyway, the point is that if I want to send a Control-Alt-Delete or something like that, that's how you would do it. Also, one of the things that we're probably going to be doing an awful lot of, and I mean an awful lot of, is taking a screenshot. And the cool part about a screenshot is I can go here and say I want a screenshot. And this is one of the ones that I actually have memorized. It's the host control, which in my case is right control E. So, doink. And it's basically going to come up and say, hey, man, where do you want it? And I'm just going to ignore that and say, yes, I'll take it exactly the way it is. Because it puts the timestamp on there and everything. It puts it in the same location as where the, the actual virtual machine files are. And so I rarely make any changes to the name. I just say, fine, go right ahead. And then later, when we come back, we hit, an assignment, and you have to do a copy and paste a graphic into it. That's where they all are. You don't even have to do anything. Okay, so we're kind of sort of done. I showed you all the cool tricks. I'm going to go ahead and log in one more time. Okay, cool. All right, now that we got that part. All right, I'm going to do something that's kind of funky. Well, remember we talked about how I could close the machine down and have it save things the way they are. Now I'm gonna pretend I'm gonna hit the. By the way, I rarely ever do this, but if you hit the red X in the corner, it's gonna come up and say you want to save the machine state. And what that basically means is, like I described in one of the previous videos, you could be right in the middle of typing a command, and then, oh my God, you have to run off and go do something. So you could hit this machine state thing, and then when you boot the machine back up, it's going to pick up exactly where you left off. Now, that's not a normal thing to do, and I usually don't use that feature unless, first of all, I only use a machine if I'm not moving it from place to place, because it could get a little confusing. For example, it's not at all unheard of to have like 3 gig of RAM on one machine and 4 gig of RAM on the other, right? But you can transfer the machines back and forth without too much trouble at all, right? But if I save the memory in a 4 gig environment and try to restore it on a 3 gig environment, it's gonna puke all over the place. So it only really works well if you're not moving things around. Okay, we got one more complicated thing to do, and you're probably going to have the notes handy to be able to perform this step, because it is, quite frankly, rather intense. Okay, are you ready? All right, here we go. I'm going to type this god-awful long command. I'm following it in the piece of paper, so I expect you to do too. By the way, everything is case sensitive, and spaces and everything. You have to do it exactly like this. Do not deviate. apt-get install space build essential. Whoop. It's essential, not essentials, plural. DKMS space Linux dash headers minus $, uname minus R. Exactly like that. Put spaces where I have spaces. Do not add any spaces that I don't have. Do it exactly like that. Okay, here goes. And of course, and again, later on, we're going to explain what this all does. But for goodness sakes. So I'm just going to hit the return and say, yeah, go ahead and do that. This doesn't take too long. And again, we're going to explain what this all means later, but for right now, just, monkey see, monkey do. It would be fine. Okay, cool. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mount a CD-ROM drive. Now, this is going to be a little funky here, so just bear with me for a minute. If I go up here to Devices, one of the things it says is Insert Guest Edition CD-ROM Image. That's what I'm going to do. Doink. Now, nothing's going to happen on the screen here because all I did was just put a fake CD-ROM in a fake CD-ROM drive. Now I have to tell the machine what to do with that thing. So here we go. I'm going to do sudo mount dev CD-ROM /media. Okay, just like that. And it says, oh my goodness, it's write protect. Well, yeah, it's a CD-ROM, for God's sake. Of course it's not have write things. Okay, and then I'm going to type this god-awful command one more time. And thank goodness you could follow along. sh media vbox Linux additions run. And every single capitalized letter is important. Every single lowercase letter is important. You have to do it exactly like that. Okay, this actually takes a while. What we're doing is we're adding some virtual box additions to make our virtual version of Ubuntu run a little better. I'm going to go ahead and hit pause just to speed this part up. Okay, that didn't take too long. So I've installed some stuff, and again, all we're trying to do is configure this thing so that this next step is going to work for us, which is the shared folder. So I'm going to pick a particular folder on my legitimate, honest to God C drive, right? You know, I'm going to go here and maybe I typically I do C temp. I create me a new folder here in the root called temp, and that's where I dump all my stuff. Okay, so that's kind of what I've been kind of expecting you guys to do. Now let me switch back to my machine here. Okay, cool. Now, so I've got a file called C temp. So I'm going to create one here at this end. This is going to a little weird. So again, I'm just we'll explain what all this stuff means for the time being. But I'm just going to type mkdir, and then I'm going to type capital C TEMP like that. Okay. So I just created what equivalent of a C temp drive on my Linux box, and then I'm going to do something really cool. I'm going to do sudo mount -t vbox sf temp c temp. Oops, before I hit this, I apologize. I'm really doing this in the wrong order. Before I hit that button, I'm going to have to go here and say shared folders. Okay, I apologize. I'm going to click on the machine folder and say add. The folder path on my physical machine, right? So that's going to be C temp. And I'm going to go ahead and say auto mount and make permanent. Okay, I'm going to ignore the mount point because we're going to do that otherwise. Okay, cool. Sorry. All right, now I'm ready to do this step. Okay, so I should have, again, don't worry about what I'm typing. I'm typing ls to get a list. If I do ls c temp, I'll be seeing files that are on my host machine, not on my... So this is the way you can transfer files back and forth between the host machine and the guest machine, because we created a folder that allows us to do this. Now, I'm not setting this up to be done automatically. That's for some other class. So you just have to remember that whenever you want to do this, you're going to have to type that goofy sudo mount blah 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 thing. Okay, we've kind of made it to the end. This is kind of whirlwind tour, and I somewhat apologize for not going into details explaining why, but we'll have an entire course to talk about why. Right now, it's monkey see, monkey do. Okay, one more time. I'm gonna do a shutdown because I want to make sure I don't mess up my machine, right? So, shutdown now. You should be doing a shutdown now at the end every time. Okay, that's it. I'll see you guys again in some future video.